Alright, welcome back to a tournament report. This tournament was the Stane of Blood tournament down south, just south of London in January 2022. And the reason Stane is spelt this way, it's an old English word for stone, apparently, or something like that anyway. Well, whatever, there's some kind of local feature that's called a stane, like a brick road or something anyway. So Stane of War, the Stane of Blood, it's a pun. Moving on. This tournament, by the way, was run by my good friend and co-conspirator, Matt G, who you may or may not know is the actual brain behind a lot of the stuff that goes into the army primers. So there you go. It was a 3-game 1995 points tournament, version 3, Clash of Kings 22 rules. And I didn't have, well, as you know, I am turning my orcs into Rift, easy of you to say, Riftforge orcs. And I hadn't finished them. In fact, they are sitting next to me, unpainted, on the desk. I shall knock 2 of them together for you. Unpainted on the desk next to me. So I thought I would take something else. Now, you may not know this about the south of England, but the south of England used to be quite soft in terms of its Kings of War prowess. Of late, that is not the case. It is the home of filth. Things have very much switched. There are a lot of very good players taking very filthy lists in the south of England. So I thought I would join in the fun. So this is the list that I took. I took an undead list, because I have an undead army, you may or may not know. I know I'm looking around. I'm looking around to look up on the shelf, but there's nothing on there except for Gorblight, who I didn't take. And I thought I would try and take something filthy, which is basically all you get with undead, isn't it, filth? But it's basically based on the miniatures that I have. I did paint a pharaoh and an undead standard bearer to go with it because I think I needed them. But we have a horde of revenants with the brew of strength, 2 troops of wraiths, a regiment of soul reaver infantry with elite, a troop of revenant cavalry, a regiment of soul reaver cavalry with dwarven ale for headstrong, horde of werewolves with caterpillar, horde of wights with strider. So everyone's got an item. Very, very expensive, this list. Necro with weakness and veil of shadows. Cursed Pharaoh and an ASB with the loot. So this list is very, very punchy. Everything is expensive. If I lose 1 unit, it's bad for me. I've got 3 bits of chaffs, double wraiths to revenant cavalry, and I've got veil of shadows. And the reason, because I knew there was at least one very shooty player who is a very good player at this tournament, so I wanted to take Veil of Shadows. It done very well in playtesting against my friends here in the local region, so yeah, a reasonably dirty list. And it turns out so were all of the lists at the tournament, so as I said, no surprise. So my first game was against a chap called Andy, who bought Varangur. Andy is a Moonraker, so if you've been watching any of my other tournament reports, you will realise that I have played 3 Moonrakers in recent history. And Andy makes my 4th. I've got the quartet. So in the last 3 months, I have played all 4 Moonrakers. Andy is kind of the most, I suppose, successful tournament-wise. He's in UK Masters this year. He normally runs a Brock-heavy list. And his position, this was his very silly list. So, Varangur, double Draugr regiments, okay. Then 3 regiments and 3 hordes of the Fallen, which is kind of gross. Double Snow Foxes, a Lord with Wings, and a Snow Fox to give him extra attacks, and 2 Thanes on Frostfang, both the Snow Foxes for extra attacks, and 1 with the loot. So, just like all Speed 8, all Nimble, all Pathfinder, but only Crush 1, right? Which I'm thinking, so my army, if you look back, is all Defense 5, all Defense 6, Defense 5 at a minimum, okay, apart from the Necromancer and the ASB. Everything else is Defense 5 or 6, so I thought this is reasonably terrifying to think about, but actually, I think he's going to struggle to kill any of my stuff, because my stuff is super durable. Let's see. So this was the board we played on. It's really cool. This is what I've got. I have this mat, actually, and it's one of my favourites. It's really nice, as you can see. So we have 2 pieces of rough terrain that we said were flat. We have 2 houses here and here, so height 6. 2 walls, nicely positioned here. Height 2. 2 height 6 forests there, and 2 height 3 hills here. So I got to choose sides, and I chose the side that we're looking from. The reason being that this wall, that's basically it's a mirrored battlefield if you look at it, 100% mirrored apart from that wall. So that wall alone makes this the better side, so I got to choose it. We are playing loot. So loot is the scenario where there are 3 loot tokens that you place. There's one in the center, which is here, and there's 2 more. There's one here, and there's one hiding behind this tree here. And the person with the most loot tokens at the end is the winner. So Andy won turn 1. This is his army over here, ready to be deployed. Look at all those ghosts. It's a very nice army, actually. Right? Nice, simple paint job, I would say. Pretty simple. But he's done it pretty nice. You can see the Draugr have this bit. They can be a horde. We've got this bit in the middle. It's pretty cool. So this is how I deployed. So you can see here, just if you say werewolves here, Soul Reaver Cavalry, Revenant Cavalry, Standard Bearer sitting in a lake. Then whites. I've got another photo. I have. There you go. So whites there. Whoops. And then next to them we have a horde of revenants. Look, the banner says free hugs. I'm so funny. And then you have Pharaoh Necromancer. You've got your 2 troops of wraiths, and those are the Soul Reaver infantry, which if you've been watching my battle reports for a while, you may recognise from being my impalers in Twilightkin. We like to mix it up. So on the other side, I will show you both of them together so you know what's going on. So these are the troops, regiments of fallen. These are the hordes, right? So he's got a troop and a regiment along with one of the Thanes on the left. He's got a Draugr in the middle. And on the other side, he's got the 2 hordes of fallen there. And then he has, these are his snow foxes, which confusingly are birds, not flying. All right, it's fine, we'll work it out. With the regiments of fallen behind them. There's the other Thane. This one on this side is the one with the loot. And this is his flying, whatever he is. I can't remember anymore. Is he a flying Thane? Probably. So this is what it looks like. So it becomes pretty obvious that I want these 2 tokens and Andy wants these 2 tokens because my army is here and his army is here. Okay, but actually I'm happy with this. So the way I deploy, so I put down first, and I put down this unit of wraiths first, this side of the house, right? So he then starts deploying against that. So I very carefully put everything here first. As much as possible, I put all my stuff here. So that he's really heavily deploying here. Now, he did put a regiment and a horde of fallen and a Thane on the left, but I have got werewolves, which are faster than they are, Soul Reavers, which are punchier than they are. I've got some tough chaff, and I've also got whites if I need them, right? So I think I win this side pretty easily with this token, and then really he can have that one, I don't care. The one in the middle. The only problem is that all this stuff is speed 8 apart from the Draugr, so it's all going to come really fast, really fast. I'm going to have to be ready for that. And he wins turn 1. You'll notice, look, the clock says 56. It's a 55-minute clock. Whoops. So Andy wins turn 1. And he pushes forward. So he pushes forward on the left. He's got his regiment in front. I think they're just out of 18, or maybe just in from 18. But out from 16. From their horses, right? Draugr push forward here. And as predicted, so everything that can comes down here and turns as far as it can. And everything else kind of presents this nice kind of flank here, and the Draugr in the middle. Okay, easy. No shooting. This is very much a punch-off. So, in response, I do the sensible. So I push everything forward. So these whites are in range, so that he can charge them with his regiment of fallen, but not with the horde. Right? These horses are obviously forward. Everything else. So I'll come to the left-hand side in a minute. On the right-hand side, I've pushed these guys. So these are obviously flying wraiths. So they can see them, obviously because they're in the woods. The line of sight for these fallen comes here, so they can't see them. The line of sight for these guys comes here, so they can't see them. So I've managed to get myself in a nice spot where only these guys can see my wraiths. These wraiths, I think. These guys also can. So these this fallen regiment can see them. The fallen horde can't. So these 2 can see this wraiths. This wraiths, meanwhile, is positioned nicely. Where, yep, can be seen. I think can also be charged. Can be charged by most stuff, to be honest, but you really don't want to because then you're going to get Soul Reavers. Alright, that was my turn 1. I think I surged them. Did I? Well, that's the left. Let's talk about the left first. So then on the left, I've come up. So, yeah, pushed forward the Rev Cav. These guys are just out of 16 because I don't want nimble all around there. The werewolves are also out of 16, but they're on the hill. So they can be seen, not by these guys, can be seen by these guys, but we're out of 16. But of course in for 18 because we are faster than them. I'm also on hill. There you go, so that's my surge. So I surge these guys forward just to really say, come on then, hit them. Hit them, they're there to die, that's their job, to die. So turn 2. Oh, there's the turn 2, so yeah. Turn 2, look, I've taken a picture of the turn marker, well done me. So turn 2, he takes the double charge that he was available to him basically. So these were the fallen regiment from over here, and the whatever they're snow foxes that are actually birds, whatever. Now he starts to send this horde of fallen down here, which is a worry. I can't see them, and they're going to come around the back, and they're very fast, so I'm slightly scared about that. With a wider shot, and then he sends his other snow foxes. So he doesn't take the horde in, because then he's going to get destroyed. Just sends his snow foxes in, and he's got his little lord here ready to jump over him. To be a git. He's a Thane. Can I be bothered to go back and look? Shall we? Shall we? No. Okay, so then on my turn 2, this is how it looks. So that's he's backed up on this side. Cowardly custard. So he sent forward the regiment, and then he backed up with the horde, not wanting the werewolves to take the horde, while the Soul Reavers destroy these. Because really, like I said, I've got too many units really here for him to cope with. So he's backed up with these guys outside of 18. But he has delayed me here, and annoyingly, I position so badly I can't see them with them. I can with the whites though, so imagine that. Okay, that's showing the same thing again for reasons that I don't know. So all of those guys, Pathfinder and everything, but only crush 1. 2 wounds, not good. Bad roll, let's say. And over there, 2 wounds from them. So in fact, 2 wounds and a kill. So this unit of Snow Foxes, on its own, did 2 wounds against my Trooper Wraiths, and took them off with, I think, he rolled a 10. And there's no inspiring, because I managed to surge them just outside of inspiring range of the mummy. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Over here, 2 wounds from the fallen onto these horses. They are fine. Okay, so my turn. What I did, I couldn't see. If we go back, so I can't see here. So instead, I disengage. So I moved my standard bearer. Where did I move him to? Back a bit. So he moved back a bit. They disengaged an inch, and then they sidestepped, and allowing the Soul Reavers to come in. Okay, which is good because he's moved them so far to be outside of the werewolves. But actually, if I just kill them and back up an inch, I'll be outside of 16 from this horde. Lucky. So I decided I don't need the whites anymore. They've sodded off. And the werewolves have come. You can see the, whatever it's called, the marker that shows that the werewolves have just hopped over the hill and turned into an incredibly threatening position. So neither of them can see them now. That's not good. So this side's going very well. This side, so you can see these fallen, really worryingly going to come around this way. Can't do a lot about that, so I decided to pretend it's not happening. I have got the whites here, so I brought my whites over. I didn't quite turn them far, and if you look here, these guys should be able to come around and mix. So I didn't really think about that. I really should have angled them better. Whoops. Maybe if I'd angled them like this, it'd have been better, but anyway, it's what it is. The Soul Reavers here are protected by the house, so they can't be charged. And I've sent in my horde into these snow foxes, not birds. And I've countercharged the fallen here because they're the scarier of these units. Plus being here means I'm blocking a lot of nonsense from here as well. Foolishly, I've rammed my Necromancer and Pharaoh right up behind this horde. And I didn't think about the reform. So that was a bit silly. I did have a choice actually with them. I could have, because they were here, right? I spent a little bit of time thinking about it. I could have just moved up and turned and surged into the flank, allowing me then to reform a bit better like this against all this stuff. And in the end, I couldn't be bothered. Let's just charge. So yes, I've shown that already. Oh, that's weakness. And then I put weakness on him. Yay, Necromancer. So that was good. 7 wounds from the horde onto the snow foxes, and a double 1. So, yay! Boo. Anyway, and that's 1 wound. Oh, no, I've life leached 1 wound. I wonder how many wounds I did. I can't see the wound counter, so it'll turn up. You don't see a wound counter? No. I think it's definitely 7 wounds on them. And I think it was 1 wound. It's 1 wound that they've iron resolved off. Did they have iron resolve? We're going back to find out. Hooray. These are big. If you notice, by the way, I've got a new camera. A new phone, rather. And it's an Android phone. And it takes wider pictures. So there's no black bars anymore. How exciting. They have got iron resolve. So they've iron resolved the 1 wound back off again. That's why there's no wound counter. Someone did complain about there being black bars down the side of all my battle reports, so that person will be very happy. So, as you were, so 1 wound, iron resolved, they're fine. These guys are fine. 7 wounds, double 1, also fine. Wow! But I have got a token. Hooray! Lads. So we showed that already. This side, so I murder these snow foxes. These are fallen pretty unceremoniously. Back up my inch. I'm now out of 16. Everything's looking lovely. Turn 3. So this is the state of the board at turn 3. So this token is pretty secure for me. In fact, I'm very much overpowered over there now. I've got 1 horde of fallen and a thing to worry about, and I'm not worried. This token, I've got it, but there's a lot of stuff coming, and I'm just holding steady here. And these guys are going to come around and give me a problem. Yep, so I think they just back up again. So what's that showing? Yeah, it is. Right, so he backs up these guys out of line of sight. So that's really pretty much all he can do here. So line of sight comes down there. Right, so the werewolves can't see them anymore, so a little bit more poor positioning from me. And that's one of the things about Undead, really, is that I'm not... As you see, I make a lot of mistakes. Undead's the sort of army that allows you to just carry on anyway. Luckily, for me. So he sends his flying Thane into the flank of these Revenant cavalry. Yeah. Well, let's see how that goes. And then he does some shuffling, and he gets a horde of fallen into my horde of Revenants, along with the snow foxes. Oh, and also the Thane in the flank, the weakened Thane in the flank. These guys, as predicted, so come out of the line of sight of my whites. I haven't quite got enough surge there to get them in. Another 2 wounds from these fallen onto these very robust whites that don't move. Wraiths, rather, sorry. 9 wounds from all of this. All of this. See, Crush 1 is rubbish. Against Strength 5. 9 wounds, and we're fine. And then disappointment of the game. Disappointment after disappointment. The Thane does 1 wound against my Rev Cav, who just ignore him. You're like, yeah, whatever. So, in my response, I decided that I don't... Because the werewolves can't see up here, right? This is where they were. Not like that, obviously. But I can see his little hero here, and I've got Pathfinder, and actually the game is really here that I'm interested in. So the werewolves come into him, and then I just carry on. So Rev Cav, move forward, pick up token. Soul Reaver's behind them. These guys, you know, what are you going to do? Over here, so we countercharge the horde, I think. And then I get a nice cheeky charge. So my whites weren't positioned, they were here. They weren't positioned well enough to attack these guys, couldn't see them. But I realised because I'm flying, I could see the Draugr. So I can come over here, hopefully kill the Draugr. Better kill the Draugr, because if I don't, I get a flank there. So anyway, they're into there. Bring up my Soul Reavers, and again, I've used the building, and this is really gamey. It's very gamey, but... So they are well within flank. They cannot fit in the flanks of the building. Yeah, I didn't feel pretty about doing it, but you know, hey. And I brought the mummy over to be a bit of flyer defense, a bit of defense. He only charges 10, but he is there, right? I couldn't get, even if I took these this Revenant horde into the Snow Foxes, I still couldn't quite get my Soul Reavers into this guy, which is annoying. In fact, I spent most of this tournament failing to get the Soul Reavers into things. So the werewolves make short work of the Thane. Chew him up and spit him out. I think helped with a Bane chant from my standard bearer. And then yes, bad news. So bad news is 8 wounds the whites do to these Draugr, but they do not kill them. I forgot, by the way, for the entire tournament, that whites had brutal. So that may have made a difference, but we never know. Can't remember what the dice roll was. These fallen in this locked-in combat take 6 wounds. 6 wounds! That's a lot. From a 10 attack wights. With Crush 1. Anyway, don't kill them. And there's lots of wound counters here now. So, and then the hordes, there's a massive 8 wounds to these fallen. Possibly with a Bane Chant. I haven't got Bane Chant anywhere else, so I doubt it. No Bane Chant, just Crush 1. So that's good, isn't it? 25 attacks on 4s and 4s. 12 should be 6. It's within the realm of possibility. Anyway, don't kill them either. No, nothing dies. Turn 3 very disappointing all round for everyone. Turn 4. It's Andy's turn 4, so everything goes back in to my poor beleaguered horde. You can see in the background here, the fallen have delightfully ploughed into the flank of my wights. And finally, the fallen pop round and go, hello, now try and escape me. So they're outside of 10 from the Pharaoh. Bad times. Can't block them up because they're nimble. And he decides, oh, sod it. Oh, sod it on the left, and sends in the fallen horde into these guys to take that token. And the guy with Bane Chant buggers off to where his Bane Chant might actually be of use. We get a flank from Snow Foxes onto these Wraiths. Oh, I think it was a Waver. That's a Waver. So it was 6 wounds and a Waver. They've backed off, and so we sent the Snow Foxes into the flank. They done 5 wounds. So were they 5 wounds before? 3. So that's after the damage. 2 wounds extra, but I'm still okay. Defense 6, yay! Notice the weakness still here. I'm just like chain weaknessing this guy because I've got nothing else to do. Can't see anything else. Yeah, so 19 points of damage onto this horde, and it explodes. And I think the token goes onto these guys. Can't see where it is there, but I think it goes onto the fallen. So yeah, it goes on there. It goes on the fallen. The fallen back up. Snow Foxes run forward, and he just stays where he is. 7 wounds from that flank and front. So the Draugr do nothing, I think, or 1 wound. These guys do the rest of the wounds, and they are okay, so that's good for me. They are pinned, that's that. And of course the Revcav dies to the Fallen, finally. So we look like this on my turn 4. Pretty saucy. I think we're okay, because Soul Reavers are going to Soul Reaver. We're going to finally get to Soul Reaver something, in which case these Fallen, too little too late. So I should get that. This should go well. And I've still got werewolves to come in. So, and then of course we're going to go here. So let's show those charges. There's a charge there. That's the counter charge. I think I counter charged the Draugr. Why did I do that? Answers on a postcard for why I would do. No, right, there you go. I didn't. Okay. Counter charge there. So it is no, it's not hindered. It's counter charge. Marvelous. The werewolf. So here's what we do here. So we first we take the Soul Reavers into the very, very wounded Fallen. Then the werewolves nimble charge around here into the hero, and the mummy comes into these very wounded Snow Foxes. And then we go into the Fallen here with the refusing to die Wraiths, and the Necromancer had no idea what to do with him, so he just kind of hides here. I think I failed to cast weakness that turn. Finally. Yeah. Why am I showing that? What happened here? It's just... Oh, that's the Draugr. That's showing you. The Draugr that were wandering over here picked up the token. Look at them. Running off. Outrageous. That is... 10 wounds. Oh, I think that's these guys. Finally dead. Yep. Oh, that is... I did get a weakness off. Go me! Did we do no wounds on him? It looks like we did no wounds. How is that possible? Oh, maybe the wound counter's somewhere else. Can anyone see it anywhere? Answers again on a postcard. Well, that's obviously the fall on this side dying, so I've now got that token. That's good. I've killed these guys and turned to face the Draugr again because I don't fancy being flanked. And I've also killed the Fallen with my Soul Reavers and taken the token. So that's... Oh, well, and I've killed the Snow Foxes. So turn 3 was a washout. Turn 4 was amazing. Everything died. The army just disappeared. So yeah, we've killed... So in turn we have killed the Fallen here. We have killed the Fallen here. We've killed the Snow Foxes here. We didn't kill this guy. He's okay. Yay! And we killed the Fallen up there as well. So lots of Fallen. And over there we also killed some Fallen. So all of the Fallen have, if you like, fallen. There's some left down here, but they're too far away now. Whoa! Okay, let's do... Whoa, that's fun. Right. So is it turn 5? Is it turn 5? No, that's just showing the same thing again. So it is turn 5. So, on turn 5, Snow Foxes go into Wraiths. The Fallen come into the flank, and he decides to nimble charges down here into these werewolves and here. The intention being that they can then turn and face the Soul Reavers that way. So the werewolves die, but that's good, they've held everybody up. And then, for reasons I don't really understand, he overruns. I think to get out of the way, maybe? Why would you do that? Yeah, so a bit confused. There was a reason. I think, no, I know what it was. It's because the Soul Reaver cavalry over there, so overrunning, he got out of their 16-inch range. That's what it is, so he had to do that. And then turn these Fallen to face. The Draugr, why am I on 6 wounds? I was on 7 before. Oh, because I life leeched, I guess. They don't do any wounds. So I'm good. And so... my turn 5. So we just bring the Soul Reaver forward. Mummy comes into the Fallen. The Wraiths, who are undamaged by the Snow Foxes, fly over into the Draugr with the token over here. We both go into the Draugr here. And it is looking very good. So we kill the Draugr, we overrun with these guys out of charge ranges so no one can see me. I think these guys can see me. Maybe. Yep. And then in Roll of the Century, I put 4 wounds onto the Draugr, roll a 10 and take him off for the token. So that was very good. So then Andy's turn. Now why have these guys not charged in here? That's what I'm confused about. They can totally see, can't they? It would be a hindered rear from the Snow Foxes, but why would you not do it? Instead, they can't. Were they waved? No. Strange. I can't remember what happened there anyway, but he's come up here instead. Yeah, and this guy has gone this way. You can see him there. This guy's gone this way into the race to try and get that token back. And these guys have gone back into the mummy. So 1 point of damage from that, which is poor. And no luck. 4 points of damage onto the mummy and no waver. So my turn 6, so we come into the Fallen here. We simply turn to face here and say, go on then. We don't mind if there's a turn 7, because I also have this token and this token, and we go back in there. And that's the end. Because there was no turn 7, so a very convincing victory. So it ended up a 21-7, I think, with the scoring system, which combined it was 15 plus maximum 5 for kills, maximum 5 for scenario. So 21-7, which is good, but it does mean that I have to play another good player in the next game. So let's look at that. So game 2 was against a guy called Chris, who I have not played before, but I have heard a lot about. I have met him, but we never played. And the reason I've heard of, so Chris is another player who is at UK Masters, and I came up to him and he went, "Oh, your list. I think your list is the filthiest list here." And I went, "I beg to differ, young man. 'Tis yours!" Because he has bought filthy. Is Elf shooting back, you may have asked yourself, with the latest version? Yes. Yes, it is. So, he has more mixed arms, but good God, the shooting is the body of it. So he's got a Horde of Palace Guard with Chalice of Wrath, because why wouldn't you? He's got 2 Glade Stalkers. He's got a Regiment and a Troop of Silver Breeze. 2 Hordes of Drakons, Strider and Boots of Caterpillar. A Lord on Drakon. And then double Archmage and Argus Rodnar. So Argus Rodnar is the inspiring character that can also give inspiring to another unit once per turn. Pardon me. And then double Archmages. So interesting loadout here. You will see Lightning Bolt 5, obviously on both of them. On this one. Oh, I thought you had both of them. That's interesting. So Lightning Bolt 5 and Bane Chart on this one. And then Mind Fog and Alchemist Curse on the other. Right? That is way better than you think. Way better. And I'll explain why. So he's got 24 good shots here. Okay, no piercing, but good. And he's got another 22 shots here. Alright, so that's a lot of core shooting that's going to do. It's not a great deal of shots, but it's very high quality, very mobile, very deployable, right? So typically you'll be able to get it somewhere you don't want it. And then he's got 5 lightning bolts here with Elite. And here he's got either a guaranteed 1 from the Mind Fog's Shattering, right? Or he's got Alchemist Curse 4. Alchemist Curse is the new Alchemist Curse. So what you do is you roll that many dice and you roll an additional number of dice based on the defense of the target. So against defense 5, he's rolling 9 dice. Does take cover, so either 4s or 5s, and then piercing 4. So always damaging on 2s. That is strong as hell. So against my little wraiths, he's rolling 10 dice. All wounding on 2s. Gosh. So, you may look at this list and think, oh, this is terrible. Boy, let's find out. So, pretty similar table to last time. So we have 2 pieces of height 6 terrain, both on that side. We've got a couple of walls, one here and one here. 2 pieces of flat, one here and one here. 2 hills at height 3, and 2 forests at height 6, right? I got to choose sides, and I chose this side. And the choice was, do I take lots of terrain that I can hide everything in, or do I force him to be crunched between 2 buildings to allow me to push in, and then I can hide behind the hills for as long as possible, and I chose that. So this is how Chris deployed. We have his Troop of Silver Breeze and a Regiment of Silver Breeze. They've got a tree on them. The Palace Guard are here at the back. You've got one of the Halls of Drakon. This is the one with Strider. That's Argus Rodnar. This army, although beautiful. Beautiful autumnal theme. Just rapturously painted. So good. Here is the Cladestalkers. These are the 2 mages. I do not know which one is which. Don't ask me. On the other side, you've got the other Gladestalkers, the Pathfinder Drakons, and the Drakon Lord. Okay, so we are playing Smoke and Mirrors, I want to say. It's the one where you have to reveal the tokens, the bluff tokens. All bluff tokens, so you have a 2-point bluff token, 2 1-point bluff tokens, and 2 0-point bluff tokens. They're all face down. You put them on your opponent's side, they put them on your side, and you reveal them at the end of turn 3. So, and here is my deployment. So we'll talk about the tokens in a minute, but werewolves on the left with wraiths and the standard bearer. Then we have our revenants, our whites, wraiths with the soul weavers behind them. There's the mummy, and there is the revenant cavalry and soul weavers on the left. All right. So let's have a look at the battlefield. You can see all the tokens we put down. So mine are these brown ones, and his are these green ones. Okay. So I put all my scoring tokens on the right. That's a 2. So that's a 2, that's a 1, and that's a 1. And the reason I did that obviously is because all the cover is here, right? So I'm thinking of shooting. And then he starts putting all his shooting over here, and I'm like, good. Very good, actually. So I'm going to put these guys here as sacrificial lambs, right? To make it, I'm putting soul weavers over here, so he's thinking, right, definitely that's going to be a scoring token. I think and the other one's here, right? So he's thinking that's definitely a scoring token. He's put all his shooting stuff here in his fusser, so I'm thinking he's probably got 1 there. So he's got 1 there, 1 there. Where's the other one? There's 1 down there, and there's 1 here, and there is another one. I don't know, I think it's down here. I think my army's on it. So he spaced them out, but he can do that because he's got speed 10, speed 10, speed 10, speed 10, speed 10. He can go anywhere he likes. Alright, so my feeling is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to hog my 3 tokens that I want to score on and maybe get another one. Yeah, minimum draw. That's my plan. So I've got the werewolves here to come into the forest and be incredibly fast. Not quite as fast as this, but they're outmatched, and they outmatch that Lord of Drakon who sucks. And I've got my defense 6 stuff. I didn't notice the Alchemist's Curse until he started using it. I would say that. I would have been more scared of it if I'd have known. I also got turn 1, which is good. So I push everything forward as much as possible. So these guys are forward as far as possible. I'm expecting to start losing units. So everything is in cover, right? The wall gives me cover here. I'm outside of 20. And I'm outside of 20. Right, so he's scouted for these guys literally half a centimetre, half an inch or something. These guys are in front. Everything else is here. Alright. So. And then do a little bit of surge. Because why not? They're not in cover anyway. We might as well just surge them forward. Try and get the. My idea is try to get across this battlefield as quickly as possible and get into him. Right? So his turn 1. So he brings the Drakon Lord Dust out a little bit to here. Not very far. And everything else moves backwards, because that's how you play a shooting army. You move backwards and then you shoot. Apart from the mages who came forward a little bit, and obviously the Drakons who stay where they are. Yeah. So, you don't think elf shooting is strong? That's against defense 5. So you've got Gladestalker, Silver Breeze, Lightning Bolt, and Mindfog. 9 wounds onto defense 5 in cover. 100% that was in cover. And took off the Revenant Cavalry, which is expected. Turn 2. So here we are, turn 2. And again, I am literally, all I can do is plunge forward. So I plunge forward these guys. So we're still out of 20 because I don't think I can survive a Drakon charge in the front, especially with Strider. So I come behind a wall, and the idea is now I'm using Soul Reavers as chaff, and I'm saying, oh, you're shooting, please shoot them. Pay no attention to all of this. So everything else has come forward as far as possible, as quickly as possible, basically. I know on the right-hand side here that the Drakon Lord can now come round here, but I've got Wraiths who I can then turn and search. So that's my thought. Although my surges are over here, which isn't good. Veil of Shadows went off. So we have got Veil of Shadows. No Veil of Shadows here. So this is when I found out about Alchemist's Curse, by the way. Yep, so in response, so Chris now realises he can send these guys 20 and turn. So they're on a hill looking down there. I'm not really scared of a regiment of Silver Breeze Cavalry in the flank on any of my stuff. So I'm not really bothered about that. Everything else has moved back a little bit to be outside of 16, so they can't be charged. Even the Drakons moved back a little bit, which I was surprised by. But there you go. Yes, because there is no clear charge for them. On the right hand side, so you can see he's moved out, but he's moved really far back. So he did the measurement, and he figures, I can turn and go 7, but then I'm going to need a surge of at least 7, and I've only got surge 11, and it's all the way over there. So that's a pretty safe place for him to be. Okay, the shooting continues. There it is. 10. You can see him rolling the nerve check, mid-nerve check here. 10 wounds. Mostly from Alchemist's Curse onto that defense 6 unit. 2 wounds onto the Soul Reavers, obviously they die. 2 wounds on the Soul Reavers, they're feeling alright. Turn 3, so now we really push in. So I can't quite get the charge I need. Let's look back a little bit. So these are outside of 14. I can, I suppose, send my werewolves. They might be outside of 18. Actually, looking at it, they are outside of 18 as well. So he's moved them back. Just can't quite get in where I want to. They're now dead. They obviously only move 10. These guys are only move 14. So I'm a little bit too far out where I want to be. So we move everything forward. This is crunch turn now, really. And I've got problems in the middle. Big problems because I've run out of chaff. Excuse my chair making an enormous noise. So I move the Soul Reavers Cavalry up into this pond to say, all right, you can go. Have a go. Please do. And I make a mistake. So I've got my line here quite nice for this guy. So he can't hit the werewolves. He can hit the wraiths who are sitting here waiting for his charge. But I haven't got any other chaff anywhere. And the wraiths are there really to protect the flank of the whites from him. It would have been better off flying them over here to protect the Soul Reaver because I haven't calculated this charge. And the Drakons can now charge my Soul Reaver infantry. In fact, both Drakons can charge a Soul Reaver type. So that was a really big mistake in this push forward. I really should have angled them maybe so that they were protected here. Yeah, it's just very difficult to manage against an army that's that fast and that shooty. And then I surged forward the horde. Not sure why I did it. I think just for laughs. Just fancied it. I mean, what I actually did, and I thought he was going to do this, but he didn't see it, is the Drakons could have flown over, charged my standard bearer, he's standing here. They could have come in. Oh, maybe they couldn't have. They couldn't have. No, because they're not nimble. Can't do that kind of flying nimble shenanigans anymore. These ones could. These ones could have come into him. They could have flown forward, come in sideways, killed him and overrun into the whites. And then these ones could have come over here. Anyway, he didn't do that. Let me show you what he did do. Didn't like it. I didn't like it. So I made lots of mistakes in that one. Lots of mistakes in positioning. So these Silver Breeze, the regiment, had a flank on the Soul Reavers. I didn't see it. Honestly, I don't know. Just played poorly. Just played poorly. They had a front with their boots of striding. These guys had a front on the Soul Reavers, and the ones on the hill came over for a flank. So hindered flank, unhindered front on vampires everywhere. Gladestalkers came into the horde, and he also sent this flying guy over here into the horde. Yeah, the unit's not here, it's here. These are these guys here. Whoa. He's brought his mages forward, and then the Palace Guard, remember that they're actually in the game, and came forward as well. So obviously to grab one of his tokens that are over there. Don't forget my tokens are down there. I can't get them with my wraiths. Down here, and I'm sitting on them with my werewolves, the 2-pointer. This is turn 3. 11 points, that's massive. So the guy in the flank, hindered flank, and Gladestalkers in the front, 11 wounds onto the Revenants. Very good rolling. That is Alchemist's Curse, I think, or Lightning Bolt. 3 points on the rights. Soul Reavers never even got to roll on the dice this game. Oh, there's his token. He killed them with his Drakons and his Silver Breeze in the flank. But look at this. So, Chris did some maths, and he's better at maths than me. I'm not good at maths. These guys in the flank should have done a couple of wounds, but unhindered Drakons in the front on defense 5 should have... Anyway, they should have ended up on 11 to 13 wounds. They had 5, and they didn't even get wavered. So that was, you know... And he literally said at that point, "Oh, I think that's the game." And I was like, "I'm not sure it is, but I'll let him have it." So, this is how it looks for my turn 3. Oh no, this is the end of my turn 3. Shh, I went first. So at the end of that turn was turn 3, and we turned over all the tokens. So you can see that on this side he put 2 zeros. Okay, my 2 is here. There's my 1, and there's my 1. This one is a 1. The one all the way over there is a 2, and the one all the way over there is a 1. Right, so at this point I'm thinking, it might be. Because actually I can turn my whites, I can get my wraiths onto that one. I should, werewolves in the flank of this guy should kill him. The Revenant should kill the Gladestalkers. We can then grab that with one of them, and the whites can come over here. Kill these Drakons. The Soul Reavers can kill these Drakons, and actually everything's looking rather good. We have got Palace Guard, but actually I don't care. What I need to do is hold off and grab this one token here, and I can win. That was my thought. Exciting, huh? Oh yes, that's to show you the 2 and the 1. So, on my turn, I think we just put the Drakons on to look nice. Turn 4, yes, correct. So, we did a turn, so I couldn't, unfortunately, I think I couldn't see them. So it was a turn and a surge. Couldn't get the turn, unfortunately, into the flank. Would have been cool, wouldn't it? Didn't do that. Into the front. So, we couldn't remember. I still can't remember, and I haven't looked it up. Whites surged off a hill. Do you get the hill charge? They're flying, but they're surged. So do you get the hill thunderous charge? Who knows? Don't think we played it that we did. Werewolves into the Lord. Revenants into the Gladestalkers. Wraiths bugger off that way, and we countercharge the Dragons here. So I'm thinking this turn needs to go well. This turn goes well, we're feeling very competitive. Bane Chant goes off. Right, Standard Bearer, Bane Chanting over here. Feeling good. The werewolves do 2 wounds. So, you know, good job, guys. That's 36 attacks on 4s and 4s. So it should be 9-ish wounds, and I do 2. What goes around comes around, eh? Even worse, 13 wounds from the Soul Reavers into the is that the right ones? I'm trying to see which one it is. Yes, it is. So 13 wounds from the Soul Reavers cavalry onto those Dracons. I don't kill them. Devastatingly poor nerve roll there. Just needed a 4. Just needed a 4. Oh no, that's them. Oh, hang on. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, I did kill them. Well, it's not quite as bad as I was making out. I was quite dramatic then, wasn't it? Anyway, 13 wounds onto them, which of course killed them. That's what you say. Life leech 2. The mummy. I forgot that I took the mummy into those Silver Breeze cavalry. I expected him to do better. He did a single wound, and they're fine, which is a bit poo. We do kill the Gladestalkers with these guys, but they're on 10 wounds, and I've got this flipping Alchemist Curse to deal with. And, worst thing, I kill them and I overrun, thinking I need to get into this token. By overrunning, I've now got Drakenlord in the rear. In the rear of those Revenants. I overran 4 inches, which is more than I wanted. So, that was a critical misjudgment. And it looks like I did 8 wounds from the Whites. So Whites off the hill, not counting it, but off the hill. So Whites, I mean, 8 wounds is probably reasonable, I guess. 3s and 3s. Is it reasonable? 12. It is reasonable. But again, I forgot they had Brutal. Maybe that would have made a difference. They didn't kill him. So on the return turn, obviously my Soul Reavers have done rather well, but unfortunately I couldn't get out of line of sight of the Palace Guard. So I take Hindered Palace Guard and Gladestalkers to the front. So these cavalry that were here back off. The Gladestalkers come in, as do the Palace Guard. I don't think I'm going to survive that. Similarly, countercharge from the Dracons. Everyone's falling off the hill. Oh, what's happened here? What's he doing? Oh no, that's him, right, so he is there. So he didn't take the rear, instead he took the flank. Because quite rightly, Chris looked at this and thought, actually I've got enough shooting to deal with these Revenants, don't care about them. Whereas these Whites are a problem, they need to die. So the countercharge Dracons, and he takes the Drakenlord into the flank of them. This was only last weekend, by the way, I really should have remembered this better. So the Soul Reaver Cavalry die. The other Silver Breeze, by the way, look, they've just gone. They've gone off that way to get a token. And the Dracons and Drakenlord kill my Whites. Everyone is facing the wrong direction now. I can't see any... It pains me to look at this. It pains me to look at how badly this has gone. My werewolves are facing the wrong way. The Revenants are facing the wrong way. All I've got is a mummy. Turn 5. So, on turn 5, what do? I move my Wraiths over here, and then really I don't have many good options. That's the shooting, by the way, that he did. So he put them from 10 wounds onto 15 wounds, so 5 more from his Alchemist Curse. So I simply turn the werewolves around. This is a wall, this black strip. The wall's actually there, you can see. But there's a nice black strip so you can see what's what. So I turn them and say, well, if you want to charge my werewolves, you can. It'll be hindered charge. And I simply turn the Revenants round because I don't need rear charges. They're already on 15 wounds. They are a -24, but it's the best I've got. So I turn them round in order to surge them. And I think this Necromancer who's standing on the hill will surge them into this guy here. Everything over here. Oh, and then I put the mummy right. So this was the other thing. The mummy had about 5 jobs he needed to do at this point. So in the end, I managed to put him here. So he's moved into this swamp because the Palace Guard have to go into him, hindered. He's defense 6. Plus, he can surge through this gap. Right? So if I need 2 surges, I've got it. So we managed to kill the guy, the Lord on Drakon. Yay! Life Leech 1. So now he's got Glade Stalkers and Drakons. He's sitting on his 1 point token. I've got a 2 and a 1, and I need to get this 1. I have no way to get that 1 for a draw. Big problem. So, Glade Stalkers and Drakons multi-charge my Horde. It's really painful. Palace Guard single charge my Mummy. And the other 2 Silverbreeze they're just off to get these tokens. So he's guaranteed 3. I can't get anywhere near them. And I can't see I'm going to get this one. 8 wounds, and he lives. So Bane Chant went off on them. So they were on 4s and 4s, and he lives. The Revenants didn't, as you can see. So at this point, this is game. Right, I can't get my 1 up here. He's definitely got 3, and he's definitely got this 4, because there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. Turn 6, so I regen a huge number of wounds off the Pharaoh and just take another step back. And in a desperation move, I send the werewolves into the Drakons, hoping I can kill them and back up onto the 2 and hold him off from this 1, but thin chance. I do actually kill the Drakons though. Don't forget they were on 8 wounds. I kill the Drakons and back up, so I get my 2, I get my 1, but his Glade Stalkers, you can see him doing it there in action. He just goes, okay, fair enough, and takes the Glade Stalkers over onto that 1, giving him the 4-3 win. So there we are. There is his lovely jumper. Look at that lovely jumper. But you can see, so the Mummy has succeeded in holding off the guys in the middle. Is there any more of this? Oh no, that's it. Yeah, thank God. So he's got his 2. Oh no, that's what happens. That pen has gone. So he's got a 2 point there and a 1 point there. No one has this one. I have a 2 point here and a 1 point here, but his little Glade Stalkers have sneaked off and got this 1 point here. Sadness. So a 4-3 victory. Very tough game, and I made some silly decisions. But yeah, wow, is Elf shooting back. Anyway, let's move on to guys. So I think I got 9 points. I killed a huge amount of his forces. Well, I killed the Drakons. So I think I got 9 on that one. So I need a big win. Turn 3. So let's see game 3. So let's see who we had for game 3. And so we crack into game 3. So having faced a Masters player, followed by a Masters player, I then come across a Masters player. So this is Sai, who I'm going to say, so to my mind, definitely is the best Ratkin player in the UK. And from the online tournaments that we've seen, and certainly from the players that I know, I mean, maybe like Paige Neo or Alex Coos, but neither of those guys play Ratkin very much anymore. Sai, I would say, is the best Ratkin player, I think, internationally. Certainly, he's right up there. He is a very, very good player. I have played him twice before. I have beaten him twice before, largely by rolling a lot of 10s. So, he certainly had the gleam of revenge in his eyes. We only see his eyes because of the masks we were wearing, of course. So this is his Ratkin army at 1995 points. So he has a horde of warriors, double shock troops with plague pots regiments, a hackpaw regiment with a potion of the caterpillar, a horde of nightmares with a blessing of the gods, which I think is the toughest. Toughest unit in this army, because in the new rules, of course, they just have blanket vicious, so that is an elite and vicious unit with crush 1 and 12-inch shooting. That's pretty good. Nimble Vermintide, little regiment of Vermintide. Sharpness Tunnel Runners, of course, they are also excellent. I'm not talking about the Nightmares. The Tunnel Runners are also amazing. A weapon team, a Mutant Rat Fiend, a Brood Mother with Amulet of the Fireheart, and Alchemist Curse again. See, people have started to clock on. Now, it's Alchemist Curse 0 for the Brood Mother. However, still good. A War Chief with Talk of Dissonance, which he didn't use, but if you're interested, Talk of Dissonance is within 12 inches. Once per game, he can stop any enemy caster using this spell of his choice. On a Fleabag, a Brute Enforcer, and the Tangle. So, there are one really good hammer unit, Tunnel Runners, and one reasonable hammer unit, the Nightmares. A lot of shooting, and then a lot of middling units that combined together are very unpleasant, which is exactly how Ratkin should be played. He's played a lot of Ratkin, so trust me, if there is a good list, he's playing it. However, I am playing Undead, so, you know. So this is our little board. We have two hills. This is a hill. This is a giant hill, both height 3. We have, I think this is a blocking terrain at height, and we treated this as blocking terrain height 6. And we've got two forests here, little forests at height 3. Two little walls here at height 2. And two pieces of flat, difficult terrain. Okay, so that's our board. Oh, and I've shown you the other way around because I started on this side and then we rolled for sides, and I think I chose this side. So why did I choose this side? I think I chose it because it means I can get onto the hill quickly. So I can get some nice hill charges off. So that's the reason I chose this side. Yeah. Pretty much it. And the walls, I think, are both on his side as well. So that's quite annoying for him. So that's what I did. This is how Simon deployed. Sorry. So he has got his ton of runners over here with the War Chief and the Vermintide. Then he's got, this is his... yeah, that's the weapon team. Size armor won best painted, by the way, which I was delighted about. It's quite funny because during the battle, I've been watching his army because he's been sending it to me because we're friends. As he's built it, it is all customized. And you know that I built a customized Ratkin army as well, so I know how annoying it is. But the whole thing is beautifully steampunk customized. These tunnel runners, it's all Mantic. It's all just, this is a slasher. You'll see it Mutant Rat Fiend in a bit when we get closer to it, but it's a slasher that just looks like a giant rat. It's amazing. It's quite muted tones, which I think is why it's been overlooked in the past, but it won Best Painted at this event, which I was delighted about because it definitely deserves it. Anyway, as you were, these are the nightmares. There's the Broodmother hiding behind a tree. That's the Brute Enforcer. Or is that the Broodmother? No, I think... Has he got two brutes? No, just the one. What else has he got? Brute Enforcer, Broodmother, and a weapon team. It looks like there is something here. Oh, we'll find out in a minute. That's definitely the Brute Enforcer next to the Horde. Oh, that's the weapon. Right, okay, yeah. It's just I'm sorry. Not good. So this is the Broodmother. That's the weapon team. That's simply the Nightmares, and that's the Brute Enforcer. Okay, good. That is the Horde of Warriors. That is a Tangle. These are Shock Troops and Shock Troops. That's the Mutant Rat Fiend, and all over here is his Hack Paws. Alright, so I win first turn. That's my deployment. So opposite that, so I have decided to ignore this side. I've got my normal, so Soul Reavers and Revcav. I've got Whites, and that's the Mummy. And that is my Wraiths. Another Wraiths, and then you've got your Revenant Horde in the middle. And then on this side, facing off against the kind of more punchy elements of his army that I outspeed, I've got Werewolves, Soul Reavers, and Wraiths, along with the Standard Bearer to support. I think the Necromancer is maybe there. Anyway, I win first turn, which is great. And I push forward. So I've positioned myself with the Revenant Cavalry facing this way because what he wants to do is bring his fast little regiment around the flank where they are very, very nasty. So I position my Rev Cav so they kind of defend a little bit against it, and everything else is just shuffled forwards. I've got my Werewolves handily on a wall, and then I've surged forwards. You can see, look at that brilliant surge there, surge. The Horde forward a little bit. We are playing, by the way, Dominate. I forgot to mention, so Dominate in this final round. So yeah, that's how we have moved. It's just showing some atmospheric shots, I guess, of the same thing. So this is size response, actually. So he's bought... Is that his whole response? Yeah, I guess it is. So his guy on his War Chief's come around here. And everything else, so he's put his little Vermintide onto the hill so I can see them, but protecting the front of the... Tunnel Runners. Everything else has come forward for a little bit of shooting fun. So he's going to pour some shooting here into the Horde, I should think. I don't think he can shoot with the Broodmother. She hasn't got anything. Oh, she's Alchemist Curse, maybe. Don't know how far it goes. On the left, you can see his Hack Paws have stayed outside of 16 for the time being, which I was quite happy about. And then everything else is just kind of advancing in a line because these guys are useless, but combined with these guys, and this guys are less rubbish. So, and then in my turn, you see these little metal things, by the way. These are just obviously corner brackets you can get for a DIY store, but Si uses them to mark his units, so when he moves them, he knows where they've been from, which I think is pretty cool. I use blank bases, and he uses those, which is pretty cool. So, I decided I need to move into a position where I can punch pretty hard and pretty fast. I need to be able to punch through and then turn, because his strength is in the multiple units that he's got. So the scary ones are down here. These are only scary when they're combined, so I need to take some of them out. So I've ignored the War Chief because sod him. I've put my Wraiths into the Vermintide to hold them there, also holding these Tunnel Runners, and then I've obviously turned my Werewolves here, so I've got quite a few units ready to come in. So I don't know why my Soul Reavers are so far back. Why would I have done that? I think I'm outside of 12 because I don't want the Brute to chaff me. It must be that. Yeah. So, the Wraiths flew this way, and the other Wraiths flew into the flank of this Brute Enforcer. The reason being is, by killing him, I've blocked this Horde. Or even if I don't kill him, I've blocked this Horde from being able to move. So then my big Horde's moved up. I took 6 wounds, by the way, from his shooting, which is quite a lot, but survivable. And everything else has moved forward, so you can see the line of sight here from his hack paws. And I'm hoping that in one turn, essentially, I'm going to block. I've gone into one of the regiments of shock troops, and the hope is that by blocking them up, next turn, I can do some very nasty stuff and take out kind of his main hitting units, by which point the hack paws are too late into the game. That's the plan on this turn 2. So that's how we look on that side, and that's how we look on that side. Okay. So we do 4 wounds onto the Vermintide and waver them. We do 4 wounds onto the Brute Enforcer and do not waver him. 2 wounds from the Revcav onto these shock troops, and they're fine. There's the dice for turn 2 that I meant to take a minute ago, and I was going to slot it back in at the right time, and I didn't. So, yeah, bear with me. So, as predicted, everything wraps round onto this Revcav, and the hack paws come round, right? So this is exactly what I thought would happen, and I'm fine with it. And the mummy's up here, by the way. I don't know what he's doing. He's just chilling. So the Brute Enforcer, this is something I did miss. So I was worried about the Brute Enforcer coming into these guys, so they're outside of 12. I forgot that he was tall, and I mispositioned my Necromancer. I really should have positioned my Necromancer here, and I didn't. I left him out, which allowed the Brute Enforcer to come round. Charge my individual. Didn't like that. And then what he's done, he's put his War Machine and his Broodmother in a very nasty blocking position here. So he sent his War Chief into the flank of the Wraiths. He's brought the Tunnel Runners around here, and he's got these guys, that's the Broodmother and the weapon team, ready to shoot my werewolves and conveniently block them at the same time. So that's where we are. So 2 wounds from all that shooting onto my werewolves, but they're feeling okay. Oh, well, feeling less good now. So, 2 wounds was from the Broodmother, I think. Alchemist Cursing. I think. Ooh, and then an additional 9 wounds from these guys and this. So, 18 non-piercing shots, along with 10 piercing shots. 11 wounds, and they die. So, it's fair to say that didn't feel very nice. He waved my Necromancer, which is, fine. And then he's killed. So the warriors, that was extraordinary. This is the most extraordinary bit. So I forgot the warriors here came into the flank of my Wraiths. Right, warriors. So these are 25 attacks on 5s. No crushing. So he gets a Bane Chant off. So we've got now 50 attacks on 5s and 5s. So let's say that's going to be 10 hits, 5 wounds. So he does 10 wounds rather than 5 wounds, which seems to be, to me, quite a lot. And then he rolls the requisite double 1, because it's a 2, to take them off twice. But it's just fine. I mean, I kind of expected them to 5, I'm not going to lie, but they didn't, so there you And then really this is really where his experience, I suppose, or just clever play shows. He's reformed this. He killed off the Rev Cav and reformed as such, which is kind of the most sensible way to reform. These guys can't be charged. He pops the play at the beginning of the turn. He'd popped the plague pots on these guys, right? And his Mutant Rat Fiend is here. Okay. So this is how the battlefield looks at the beginning of my turn 3. There's turn 3. I spent a good 10 minutes, if not more, trying to work out what to do, which is way too long, because I've got plague potted guys here, non-plague potted guys. I've got and my choices for things I can throw in. I've got these. Everything I've got can charge except for my Soul Reavers, right? And there are a number of things I could have done here. Looking at it now, I think the best thing to do would have been to. So the other thing is these guys can see. I don't know if they're within 14. I think they're out. So that's something to bear. So I've got Soul Reaver Cavalry and a Mummy to deal with this here. And whatever I do needs to kill well, because I've got these guys to come in the flank next turn. And then I've got Wights and Revenants who can come. So the Revenants could come here. No, probably can't because they're outside of 10. So the Revenants can pretty much come here, or they can go into the Nightmares. I remember now. Which would be hindered charge into Nightmares, followed by flank and flank. So that's not very fun. The Wights can come into a lot of places. And I've got the Mummy. So what I choose to do is pretty stupid. And at the end of 10 minutes, I just, oh fine, I'm just going to do this. Don't care. Right? And I do this. I triple charge the least threatening unit there. The Warrior Horde. For reason, I think just because they just killed my Wraiths and I've been like, bloody hell, they need to die. I think a better solution, thinking on it now, would have been to send Soul Reavers in here. The Mummy in here. And then Wraiths and Revenants in here, which would have allowed a better reform. Right? I think that's what I should have done. Didn't. So all 3 into the Warriors. Let's just, I mean, yeah, you make some mind-bogglingly stupid moves. And twice as stupid as that, I send the Mummy into the Mutant Rat Fiend, which is hysterically wrong, because the Mutant Rat Fiend is on a square base, and if he reverses an inch, he can just come this way and the Mummy's left high and dry. So stupid. I feel stupid. If I put him here, that would have been much better. I'm annoyed with myself. Anyway. And then the Soul Reavers simply annihilate this war engine here. The Wraiths weren't damaged last turn, so I fly them over and send them into the flank of the Tunnel Runners, hoping to kill them in a single blow. It might have been better to have put them in the front and surged them in to block them, but I didn't think about it. It might have been even better to put them into the Nightmares, but then they would have left the Tunnel Runners free to go, and we didn't like that. So. So the Soul Reavers, obviously, I rolled 75 dice and surprisingly 40 of damage. And then I do something even more stupid than before, which is I leave them like that. And I think, oh no, that's later anyway. And then face them off this way. I'm just going to get chaffed up here, so that's awful. Obviously, we kill the Horde. Not many good options really. So the White's flank is protected from by this Horde. The Horde is facing off. It's going to get Nightmares and Tunnel Runners, so that's not going to be fun. And my Soul Reaver Cav are going to get Shock Troop, and Mutant Rat Fiend. So that one move that I took has really left me in a very bad place. Pretty much. I think I do a couple of wounds from the Mummy. So yeah, that's what happens. By the way, nice shot of the beautiful model. He's hand sculpted this face onto a goblin slasher. I deserve this. So the hack paws come around the back rather than joining. They actually see the Soul Reaver, but they don't need them. I feel a bit sad about it now. I think I was in a good position here. You know, this is a relatively strong position to be in. I think I was worried about 20 attacks on 4s and 3s. Or 4s, yeah, 4s and 3s because I would have lost my Thunderous. Maybe if I put the Mummy in as well. The Mummy would have had to go on that side. So, anyway, so he obviously everything comes into the Soul Reavers. Ton of Runners and Nightmares come into the Revenants, and the Vermintide chaff up my Vampires. He sends his War Chief into the back of these Wraiths, who but they did 2 damage. So 2 damage in the flank. That's 20 attacks on 4s and 4s. 2 damage, which is not very good. So that looks like that. Exceptionally painful. Both units die. So Soul Reaver Cav dies here. Revenants die here. White's now feeling a little lonely. Turn 4. So, turn 4, obviously we have to kill the Vermintide here. I move my Necromancer up here so that they can see over the Tunnel Runners, and then I go for a second flanked surge. I think surely this time, so he's turned the Tunnel Runners to face this way because he doesn't really care. Don't forget the Dominate Circle is here and we're at turn 4. He doesn't care if they die because he's got all of this and shooting to come in later. So I go for a second surge in the flank because why not? And then I turn my Wraiths, my Whites, sorry. So the Whites were facing forwards, right? So they were facing this way. And I tried to see if I could get a nice flank on any of this stuff over here. Whatever I do, they're going to die next turn. So I thought I'd take up Nightmares with them, with a second surge from the Mummy. You can see here, and it's now useless at the back there. So we get my surge there. 10 wounds this time, which is much better. But then I double one it with. It's just like, oh, okay, all right then. I get my surge in the flank of the Nightmares as well. Obviously, I kill the Vermintide. So I have now got Soul Reavers free, but the Brute and Force is just going to chaff me up there. And even worse than that, I reposition like this, right? Facing down into the armies here, thinking, oh, I've got you now with my Soul Reavers. Something I missed? Can anyone see what I've missed? I just didn't see it. Just didn't see it. I mean, I knew I couldn't have gone any further because I needed. Otherwise, I'm going to get flanked by Tunnel Runners. But I didn't even look on this side of the board. I just missed it. And there we killed the Nightmares. And the Whites are like, okay, you can kill me now. We kill the Tunnel Runner. No, we don't. We don't kill the Tunnel Runners. Why have they got 3 wounds? Oh, I think that's Alchemist Curse. Sod of Alchemist, bloody Alchemist Curse. Anyway, look at this. Awful. Oh, God, it's painful. This is nearly as painful as the last game. In fact, it's more painful than the last game because I think I didn't play that badly in the last game. I did horrifically badly in this game. Not even, how forgiving an army undead is can save me from this. So, Tunnel Runners in the front. Hatpaws in the flank. Ye oldie triple charge. So how do you think this goes? Well, they die. I didn't take a picture of it, probably because I was feeling so sad. But what that leaves me with is a unit of Wraiths, a Standard Bearer, a Necromancer, and a Mummy. All individuals. We're playing Dominate. It's turn 5. What am I doing there? Who knows? Oh, I think I've come up for some surging. Yeah, I've come up to surge. I'm going to surge in the flank again. They must die. And they do die. Is it even a surge? I was searching for the Necromancer. What's he there for? I don't think he can even charge. Did he hit them? Charge them? Who knows what he did? Anyway, the Wraith surged from the Necromancer surged into the flank of the Tunnel Runners. Knock them off. There he is. Necromancer's like, okay, just stand in front of these Hackpaws. At least I got them. It's my 1 unit left. But then he Alchemist Cursed them off. He just shoots and Alchemist Curses them off. It's turn 6. My Mummy goes into the flank of the shock troops. He throws everything he can at them, and the Mummy doesn't die. So the Necromancer dies. He gets Hackpawed. Oh, I've lost me a pointer again. So the Necromancer, the Mummy's okay. I've lost it. Sorry, Necromancer dies. There he is. The Wraiths die, get shot off, and my Mummy lives. And that is the only units I had left at the end of the game. So, not, it's fair to say, my greatest showing. It's just poor. Okay, so here's some of the armies on display. There's my one! Look! And you'll recognise some of them that I've just played against. So, I was playing Undead, right? Which, as we all know, is easy mode. And yet, I lost 2 out of 3. So, does that mean A, I am a terrible player? B, Undead are no longer overpowered? Or C, something else? And I think it's a little mixture of all three, if I'm honest. So it's worth noting that the 3 players that I played ended up 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So Chris won all 3 of his games and came 2nd. Sai won 2 and lost 1 and came 3rd. And Andy won both of his other games and came 4th. Okay, so my what they call strength of schedule was relatively high. They're all Masters players. I also, so in terms of point 1, I played like a donkey. I acknowledge this. I did not play, as I went through, I told you some of the mistakes that I've made. So I didn't make many mistakes in the first game. But the second game, I made a couple of critical errors. And in the third game, I just played rubbish. So that's definitely something that is valid. I think the addition of Alchemist's Curse is a nice strong counter to those Defense 6 nonsense lists, right? Which is pretty good. So actually, there's an army here somewhere. Not this one, I think. One of the other Abyssal Dwarf armies. It's Rusty's army, Rusty Shackleford, who you will probably know if you've been online. He bought all golems. Oh, there it is. Let's pause there for a second. So you will see 3 hordes of golems, a greater golem, 1 troop of fast guys, some gargoyles, and then double mortar. Right, so that's a big defense 6 wall. It really suffered this tournament. And also the other thing worth noting is that so there's about 3 or 4 guys that I play regularly, and none of them take shooting. They all take the pretty similar, I think, melee kind of focused armies, a little bit of shooting, but not a great deal. So I simply haven't had the practice playing against them. That's another thing. So yeah, I think the power of Undead is slightly reduced from where it was. It's not quite as devastating, but it's still very forgiving. Even when I was making silly errors, Undead is so strong that I was able to come back from them. Just if you're playing against very, very good opponents, you just sometimes don't have the chance. There's that. The tournament was really well run. Prizes were extremely good. Yeah, it was a bit far for me to go, I would say. I'd have to drive. I don't know, Americans drive really, really far, but it was a 1-day, 3-game tournament, and I drove 2.5 hours there and back on the same day to go there. So it was pretty tired by the end of it. But other than that, I had a really good time. Really nice people, really lovely, lovely people. I really enjoyed. The winner of the tournament, by the way, was the same person that won the tournament, my last tournament report. His name was Richard, playing Undead, playing a slightly different one. He had changed his list up quite a bit. Richard won that one as well, so he's looking extremely strong. Yeah, so that was my tournament. Let me know what you thought. Please feel free to laugh at me in the comments. We will see you next time in fact, the next battle report will be a report from UK Masters, because against all the odds, ironically, I have qualified for Masters despite not being top 16. It dropped down enough. It's reached the lowly depths of me. So you will get my report from the UK Masters tournament at the beginning of February. Very exciting. And we'll see you then.